Welcome to Intro to Matrix. Today we will go over the basics of Matrix. We'll go over homepage and widgets, how to create your header and footer, set up your email signature, searches and results, how to create a quick CMA, and how to use the mapping tool. So let's get started. Please go to mymentortext.com. This will take you to our website. Here you can do a few things. You can go to Account Access. Account access is where you go to update your information, such as your telephone number, email address, or agent website. You are not able to change that in MLS. You will need to come here and change it in account access. That will then transfer that information to your MLS. Another thing that you can do here is go to Courses and Events. This brings you to a calendar full of MetroText courses and events. Here, if you go to the menu, you can select MLS, and the classes in light purple are all MLS topics. Let's go ahead and head on over to mymentortext.com, and let's go ahead and click on Mls Login. This will ask you for your MLS ID and password. Once you enter those, this will bring you to your Netris dashboard. Here to the right, you can see that the system is identifying me as the person that has logged in. There is one very important rule, and that is there is absolutely no sharing of your MLS credentials. If you have an licensed assistant, our Member Services Department will be happy to help you with the paperwork needed in order to get your licensed assistant into our member data and for them to have their own MLS login to work on your behalf. Next to my name, you will see a timeout. This starts at 3 hours. If you don't do anything in the system will kick you out. A good way to prevent that is to refresh your screen. Then you will see the clock start back up at 3 hours. In your Netris dashboard, you will see all the tools that come in with your MLS. If your dashboard looks a little bit different than mine, do not worry. That is because I have the pleasure of working for the MLS department. But rest assured that you have all the tools necessary. Here you will find Matrix. This is where we will be working on today. Matrix is where you will search for listings, or you can go ahead and input your listings. Tags. Tags gives you tax information about properties. Trends. For those of you who like market trends, this is a great tool. Then you have the Corelogic Learning Lab. This has great tips and also has great videos on Matrix and also OneHome, which is a portal. Remine is a data mining tool. It is a platform for agents that combines data on properties. Then you have your cloud products. Cloud MLX is a great backup to Matrix. Just note that if Matrix goes down, there is Cloud MLX as a backup for you to search for listings. Then you have Cloud CMA. It's another option to create CMAs. Cloud Streams is another option to send auto emails. If we look down below, we will see Instinet and SIFforms. These two have the same logo. That is because they are run by the same agency. These two essentially do the same job. This is where you will do your transactions. And this is also where you will find your forms library. As these two do the same job, please note that we do not recommend for you to use both at the same time, as it can be confusing. For you to learn more about these two platforms, please join us in our future webinars. Let's go ahead and head on over to Matrix. When you click on Matrix, it will bring you to the Matrix homepage. This is what we call your homepage. Before we get started, please note that if at any time you're somewhere else in this screen, you can always come to your homepage by clicking on the Netris logo, by clicking on My Matrix, or by hovering over My Matrix and clicking on Dashboard. These little sections here on your homepage is what we call widgets. You can go ahead and customize your widgets by moving them around, deleting them, or adding them. Let's go ahead and move some around. Hover over the title of that widget. When you see that 4-pointed arrow, left-click your mouse and drag it. Let's go ahead and do that again. Hover over the title of the widget you'd like to move. Once you see the four-pointed arrow, left-click your mouse and drag it to wherever you like. You can also go ahead and delete them by hovering over the title and clicking the X. Let's go ahead and delete all of them. As you can see, all my widgets have disappeared except for 2. News and alerts cannot be deleted or moved. Please note that if there is a message here, please click on it as there may be very important information for you. Maybe there could be a notification to you that there is an update coming up. Also, additional cannot be deleted. It can be moved, but it cannot be deleted. The reason why is because additional is your safety zone. If we click on the arrow, you can see all the widgets are here. So technically, you cannot completely delete a widget off the system. So if you ever need it back or change your mind, you can simply hover over the title of the widget you like. When you see that four-pointed arrow, left-click your mouse, do not let go, and drag it out. Let's go ahead and do that again. Hover over it. Once you see that four-pointed arrow, left-click your mouse and drag it out. And that's how you customize your homepage with your widgets. One important thing about external links is you have all the tools here, just like you did in the Netras dashboard. The good thing about this external links is that if you click on these, it will take you to that tool. For instance, if I was to click on SIP-Forms, it will take me straight to SIP-Forms. Let's go ahead and head on over to My Matrix, My Information. Here you will see the Information tab. As explained at the beginning of this webinar, you are not going to be able to change your email address, telephone number, or agent website here. As much as I like to click on it, it won't let me change it. That is because I have to come over here and change it in account access in order for that change to take effect into MLS. Let's head on back to Matrix. The information gathered here is the information that lives in the member data. Please note that at any time you change your office or brokerage, that will require some paperwork to our member services department. Please reach out to them if you are updating your office or brokerage. Let's go ahead and click on Header and Footer. On Header and Footer, it brings us to this page. Let's go ahead and set up our header and footer. The print header will show when I am going to print some reports or maybe some CMAs. This print header will show on each report. Let's go ahead and set this up. You can select to have a photo by clicking Photo or No Photo here. You can select to upload a photo or change photo by clicking Change Photo. If you have a picture in the system will recognize it. If not, do not worry. You can simply click Browse. Go ahead and find that photo in your desktop or laptop. Select the photo you like. Go ahead and click on Open, and the system will identify that photo. Here, the inner square is what the photo will show on the other side. If you like to crop it, this is the time to do it. You can crop it, or you can change it. For instance, I don't want this part to be cut off, so I can simply go ahead and go to the inner square, left click on my mouse and drag it. That looks better. Let me make it a little bit bigger. There you go. Once you're okay with a photo, go ahead and say Save. As you can see, it has added my photo to that section. Next is branding. So here, if you click on branding, it will show you different options that you have for the contact information. This information came from the Information tab. Let's go ahead and pick some information to display. Name, association, email, and phone number. Remember to always save in order for the change to take effect. And now the system is telling us that it's saving that information. Behind here, is what we call a banner. Matrix has different template banners that you can choose from. Let's go ahead and click on select a different banner so you can see. There are several different templates here. You can go ahead and just browse and pick your theme. Let's go ahead and pick this one by clicking on the circle and then selecting preview. As we can see, the banner is displaying that preview. If I like this banner the way it is, I need to click save. Now, if we scroll down a little bit more, you can see that you can actually use the default colors, or you can go ahead and customize your own colors. I am okay with the system's defaults. If we scroll up a little bit more, we can also see that we can upload a custom banner. You can do that if you like, just the way we did the picture. Go ahead and browse, look for that banner in your laptop or desktop, and load it. Now here, if you use a custom banner, please keep in mind that if it looks a little bit off or it's not showing at all, it may be because of that image size. So if you're using a custom banner, please pay attention to the image size that is required. Let's head on down and let's go ahead and look for our print footer. You can select to use a print footer or not. If you do, go ahead and select the branding you like, just like we did on top. Association, email, and telephone number. You can always go ahead and use the default colors or customize your own colors. I am good at using the theme colors, so now that I'm ready, I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And now you see we have selected our header, our print header by putting a photo, by selecting our branding, and by selecting our banner. We have also selected to use a print footer, and we have selected to use the following branding. Let's go ahead and head on over to email signature. Under email signature, you will see that it looks a little bit like Outlook, and you will need to go ahead and set this up manually. If you change brokerages, please note that it will not automatically change from the information tab. The information tab will update from our member data. However, the email signature, you will need to come here and manually update yourself. Let's go ahead and finish the email signature. You can select the font. You can change the font. You can bold print the font. You can change the size of the font. You can change the color of the font. You can even change the background of from that text that you had. In here, you can also go ahead and enter a symbol. For instance, I want the R symbol behind realtors. I'm going to put the cursor wherever I want that change to take place, and then go ahead and click on this Insert Special Link character. Here you will see all the special characters, so go ahead and find your symbol. For instance, there is the R symbol, and now you see that the R symbol is right where the cursor was. You can also go ahead and insert a picture. Go ahead and put the cursor wherever you like. Go ahead and click on this image icon. And here you can do two things. If you have a picture and print a header and footer, you can go ahead and select image. The system will recognize that photo. You can select it and say OK. Or you can go ahead and find the photo wherever you have it on a website. Go ahead and copy that URL and paste it. Let's go ahead and do that. Now I know MetroText has my photo under staff. Once you find the photo, go ahead and right-click your mouse this time, copy image address, go back to Matrix, go back to the URL section and paste it. Say OK. And now you can see the photo has landed right there where a cursor was. You can go ahead and change the properties to this photo by clicking on the right-clicking on the photo, or by simply going back to the image icon. You can go ahead and change the width. If you have this locked, it will also change the height. If you prefer to do both of them manually, go ahead and unlock it, and now you can go ahead and change both. I like to have it locked. That is just my preference. I'm going to lock it back in because I like for the system to find the height for me. Now that looks a lot better. Now that you're satisfied with the size of your photo, go ahead and say OK. As you can see, it says updated our photo. Another thing that you can do is go ahead and put in a link by clicking on the link icon. Here you can go ahead and find that link to that website you like, or if you have an agent website, you can put it there, and it will say something like www.mymetrotext.com, or you can substitute that text by putting a display text. For instance, I am going to put check out my website. Okay. For the sake of this example, I do not have an agent website, so I'm going to use MetroText webpage. Go to that page where you have it, make sure that it's where you want it to land. Go ahead and copy that address, go ahead and go back to Matrix, and go back to that URL spot and paste it. Say OK when you're ready. So now you see it says check out my website. So when your clients are getting emails that you sent to them from Matrix, whether it's a direct email or an auto email, they will see this email signature. If they click on check out my website, it will take them to that website you embedded. Let's go ahead and say save. Now we have set up our email signature. Let's go to the search menu. Before that, let's click on the Mls logo so you can see it brings us back to the home page. In search menu, you can search for residential listings, multifamily, lots and acreage, also known as land, commercial, residential lease, cross property actually looks for all these categories here. You can even look for an agent. You can look for an open house. Today, we will be working on residential quick, so let's go ahead and click on that. This will bring you to the residential quick criteria. If you're looking for listings, this is where you can start. Here, the criteria will look based on whatever you select here. So select the statuses you're looking for. For instance, if you wanted to do active, coming soon, you could select them all if you like, or deselect them. Let's go ahead and select some right here. And as you can see, when I click on expired and pending, a number appears. This means 0 to 90 days. If I wanted to change that, I can go ahead and simply click on that and change it. 0 to 180 will be 0 to, it will be 6 months. Now you can go ahead and put a date if you wanted to. So let's go ahead and look for Valentine's Day. One thing to remember if you're using a date, a specific date, if I don't put anything, the system will look for expired listings only on this exact date. If you forget how to use this field, if you hover over the field, it will give you like a cheat sheet, as you can see on my screen. If you want to look for Valentine's Day and prior to that, you put in minus sign. If you want to look for Valentine's Day to today and forward, you put a plus sign. If you do want to look for a range, you can do that and then simply go ahead and put in the other date. So let's go ahead and do today, and that would be the range. You can also use this little calendar icon here. Click on it. Let's go ahead and change it to the 1st of June so you can see how it changes. Say OK when you're ready. And now you can see that the system switched that to 6/1. If you wanted to go ahead and not type in every single date on every status you're looking for, you can simply copy and paste it. Okay. Also, you do have sub-property types. In here, you can select single family, half duplex, farm and ranch, condo, or townhome. You don't have to select them. Remember, this is what you are looking for. You can also select more than just one if you like. You can go ahead and hold down the control key. If you are using a Mac, it will be the command key. And then select the other ones you like. To deselect them, simply hold down the key again and unclick those. Now let's head on over to zip code. Zip code, you can put in a zip code if you wanted to. To put another zip code, simply put a comma, no spaces, and then put the second zip code, and so on. You can go ahead and do the same for counties. You do have the list of counties here, or you can simply start typing it in, and the system will start recognizing it. Once you find your county, go ahead and highlight it. You could do the same in cities. Now in cities, you can go ahead and type in the city. You can go ahead and look for more by adding a plus sign and putting the second city. You can also use a comma, no spaces in between. You can also use this little icon here. Let's go ahead and click on it. And you can see, you can start typing in the cities you want. So let's do Dallas, highlight, add. Let's go ahead and find Duncanville, highlight, add. And let's do one last one, which will be Fort Worth. Highlight, add. Once you are ready, say OK. And now you can see it has added all 3 cities. You could do the same with counties, the same way we did in cities. In price right here, you can go ahead and put the price. Let's go ahead and put 500. Now this, because I have selected to leave this in here, is adding the additional zeros. This does not mean 500, this means 500,000. If you want to not use that, simply uncheck it, and now that means 500, not 500,000. If you wanted the 500,000, you will need to add the additional zeros. I prefer to use the check mark, but that is just me. If we put 500,000, the system is only going to look for properties at that exact price. If you want to look for 500,000 and below, put a minus sign. 500 and above, put a plus sign. You can even do a range as well. Bedrooms, the same thing. You could do 2 bedrooms, or you could do 2 plus, or 4 plus, whatever you are looking for. Same thing for baths. Square footage. Similar to what we did on prices, you can put the square footage, 1,700 and minus is below, plus the 1,700 and above, and then we can also do a range. Year built, maybe you have a client that does not want to look at anything built before the year 2000. You can put the year 2000 and put a plus sign. If they wanted to year 2000 and below, you put a minus sign, or you can do a range as well. Now that we know how to use the criteria, let's go ahead and do our first search. A couple of things here. You can go ahead and clear it, and it will clear and give you a blank canvas. Or you can go back to residential quick, and we'll take you to the same spot. One thing that I like to do is select Texas, as I know that I am going to search for listing in Texas. I don't want to go ahead and type in Texas or click on Texas every single time. A good way to do that is simply select Texas and come over here to this gear. When you click on the gear, select this as your starting default. Now, the criteria has been set, and every time you go to residential quick, you will see that you have Texas selected. It's a nice little tip. Let's go ahead and do our first search. For our first search, we're going to do active and coming soon. We are going to go ahead and do single family. We're going to go ahead and stick with Dallas and Duncanville. Then we're going to do a price range of 600 to 800. 2 bedroom plus and 2 bedroom plus. As you can see, the system has found 122 matches. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results. And here we are seeing the results in a agent single line view. Here you can click how many you see per page, 10, 25, 50, or 100. I am going to leave it at 100 because I want to show you a couple of things here. The flags right here. If you see this flag, it means that those those flags have had that change on that listing within the last 5 days. If you see the S, that means that there has been a price increase or decrease. If you see an N, that means that this is a new listing. And let's go ahead and try to find the last one, which is a B as in boy. There it is. That is back on market. So if you see those, it means that there has been a recent change. Let's go ahead and go back to the first page. In here, you will see all of these columns. If you click on the first column, it will show you the photos of that property. You can go forward or back. You can go ahead and click on the map. It will show you where that property is located. If you click on the clock, it will give you the history. If you click on this transaction desk / Instinet / Green Sunshine, that actually gives you, takes you to transaction desk if you wanted to go ahead and start a transaction using Instinet. The TX, as much as we love Texas, it does not stand for that. It stands for taxes. So if you click on that, it will give you tax information on this listing. Then you have your MLS number, you have the status, you have the address, subdivision, square footage, beds, baths, and towards the end, you see the current price. You can go ahead and sort some of these columns. A good way to know if a column can be sorted is by simply hovering over the top of that column. If you see that hand show up, it means it can be sorted. For instance, MLS number, you can sort by MLS number. You can sort by status. You can sort by address, and so on. If you see the hand appear, it can be sorted. Let's go ahead and add a column. What if you wanted to add a column? You can do so. Hover over any of the columns. When you see that 4-pointed arrow, go ahead and left-click your mouse. Go ahead and insert column. It will give you a lot of columns that you can add in here. If you know the name of the column, you can simply start typing it. As you can see, I'm looking for zip code, and now zip code has appeared. Go ahead and highlight it. Go ahead and apply. And now you can see zip code has appeared here. For instance, if you wanted to save this as your starting default when you are in Agent Single Line View, simply go to that gear, click on it, and select the first option, which is use this as my starting default. The system will tell you it has saved. And now you see we still have Agent Single Line View, but there is one that appeared that says My Agent Single Line. And now you see that the zip code is there. You can go ahead and add another column if you like. You don't have to just stick to one. Let's go ahead and add another one. Hover over any column when you see that 4-pointed arrow. Left click your mouse, insert column, and this time I know this column has square footage. I just don't know the exact name. So a good way to look for it, if you know that the column that you're trying to add has something, go ahead and put it there, and it will just show the columns that have that. For instance, this is the one I was looking for, so I'm going to highlight it and apply. Now you can see that it has added that current price by square footage ratio. Now I want to go ahead and move this column. I want to go ahead and move the zip code right here behind subdivision. So you can do that by hovering over that column, left click your mouse, do not let go, and drag it. Let's go ahead and move this one right here behind the total square footage. Hover over it, left click your mouse when you see that 4-pointed arrow, and drag it. You can also rename that column. Hover over that column you want to rename. For instance, this is one I think is taking too much space for me. Hover over it. When you see that 4-pointed arrow, left click your mouse, and now you can see that you can go ahead and rename it. I think that is good for me. I'm going to leave it at that. Once you are done, go ahead and apply. It is still taking too much space, isn't it? I did went ahead and renamed it, But now I'm going to go ahead and hover over the edge of that column. Once I see those vertical lines, left click your mouse, do not let go, and drag it in or out. Now, I have done this work. I don't want it to go away, and that's okay. You can go ahead and save this display by clicking on the paper and pen. And then you can go ahead and name this display. For instance, I would just recommend for you to name it something that by looking at it, you know exactly what it is. For me, for instance, I have zip code. I have added zip code, so I am going to add zip code, and I also am going to add price by square footage. And that tells me exactly what I need to know. Once you are done, go ahead and click on Save as a Copy. And as you can see, now we have the single agent line view. So let's go ahead and click on that. As you can see, it has the other one where we just added the zip code. But if we go to the one we just named, it has the one with the zip code that we added and the square footage. So you can save as many as you like here. Remember, the ones that say mine are the ones that you saved. Now let's go ahead and look for another criteria. Let's go ahead and click on criteria. Here, you can go ahead and clear it. Remember, it gives you a clear canvas, or simply go back to residential quick, and it will give you that default we put in with Texas. For this one, I am going to go ahead and look for property description. Now, you don't see property description here, and that is because that is an added field. I have property description added. Well, let me show you how easy you can go ahead and add a field and remove it as well. So let's go ahead and add it. Let's go to property description, remove it. Let's go back. And as you can see, property description is gone. To put it back in, you can simply go ahead and add, look for the added field you like through the list, or simply start typing it in. And as you can see, we were looking for property description. Let's go ahead and add it back. Once you see it on the selected fields, click go back. And now if we scroll down, we will see that property description is back on our screen. Now here, this is great when you are looking for keywords. Maybe you want to search for a keyword that may be hard to look for through the criteria. Well, when we add specific keywords to property description, we are telling the system to look for those specific keywords. Now here is where asterisks are your friends. As is, so asterisk is a wild card. When you put an asterisk before or after, or like we did right now, we're doing it before and after, both together, is telling the system, it doesn't matter where on property description you see those words, I need you to pull it for me. So you can add more than just one word. So let's go ahead and add renovations. And asterisk before and after, not an 8, and asterisk, comma for the other one, next word, no spaces, and asterisk, investor. So I'm telling the system to look for as is, renovation, and investors. Let's go ahead and fill in some of our criteria. For instance, active, coming soon. We're going to go with Dallas only right now. And we're going to do a big number right now. So it is going to be 1 million plus. Okay. And then once you see the results, 3, it's okay for this example. Let's go ahead and click on results. Now we are back to the agent single line view. However, I can switch to agent 360 property view. There's 2 ways you can do it. Let's go back to agent single line view. You can switch this way just like we did, or you can simply click on the MLS number. It will take you to agent 360 property view. Now here, this is an overview. So when you are in the listing tab, this is an overview. Now to move back and forth to your results, you can click next, next, and previous. Okay. We're going to stick with this one. This one is a good example. In here, you have the listing that gives you an overview. We are going to go through that in just a little bit. But now you have Instead of having the columns, you have tabs. So if you click on tax, it will give you tax information on this property. If you click on photos, it will give you the photos of this property. Let's go back to the listing. And in here, you will see that it gives you the MLS number. It gives you the status of that listing. It also gives you the address here and here. There's a difference to those. If you click on the blue one, it will actually show you where that property is located on the map. If we look further down, you will see the original list price and the current list price. So if there was a change, you will see it here. It shows you the category, the type. It even gives you the parcel number. Looking down, it gives you bedrooms, baths, living areas, garage spaces. Let's go down a little bit further. It gives you the school district. It gives you the school's names. Looking down a little bit further, it will give you the dimensions of the rooms, and it will also give you more information on this property. On property description, remember what we were looking for? We looked for the keywords as is, renovations, and investors. If we look closely, we told the system to pull those words from the property description. As you can see, there is our phrase right there, as is. If we look a little bit further down, we will see driving instructions. We will also see the listing office information, the listing agent information, and lastly, we will see the showing instructions. Let's go ahead and go to the top again. There is different ways that you can see those photos, and that's simply by clicking back and forth here or clicking on this square. Below that, you will see several icons. This one, this virtual tour, means that this property has a virtual tour. If you wanted to go ahead and start a transaction using Transaction Desk, also known as Internet, you will click on this little green sunshine. To know the history of this MLS, you can go ahead and click on this little clock. Next to it, you see this little 3 sheets of paper. That means that this agent has uploaded some documents they'd like you to look at. Maybe it could be the survey or the seller's disclosure. If you click on the tax right here, it will give you more information through realist tax. And that will bring you to that address, and it will show the information realist tax has on this property. Here, it will give you showing time. So this is a showing time icon. If you see it, you will be able to click on it and schedule a showing using showing time. Instead of a flag, you actually get recent, and this will show you the new and the date that came available. Now let's go ahead and head on over to criteria again. Let's go ahead and clear it. Now we're going to look for room search. Room search is an additional field. Now, if you have an additional field that you know you're going to be using often, you don't have to remove it. You can leave it as is, just not use it. Let's go ahead and look for room search. There it is. Go ahead and highlight it, add it, and then go back. This one is good to when you are looking for a specific room. Maybe there is a specific room here, such as like a sauna or a guest suite, or maybe you have a client that's being very specific on something, such as getting a master bedroom on the 2nd floor and another second master on the 1st floor. That's being very specific, isn't it? You can even put the room's width and length if you want it. Here, let's go ahead and change active and coming soon. And as you can see, it only found 12. Let's go ahead and click on our results. Now, if we go here to where we see the room's dimensions, you will see that it says it has a master bedroom on the 2nd floor. It also has a second master on the 1st floor. Let's go ahead and head on over back to our criteria. We're going to go ahead and clear this again. And this time we are going to look for foreclosures. That is also an added field. So let's go ahead and add a field now that we have cleared our criteria. This field, if you look for foreclosures, it's not going to find it. If you look for REO, which stands for bank owned, which is actually what you can search for, you don't find it. That is because it's under seller type. There it is. That's what we need. Go ahead and highlight it, add, and go back. And now, if we want to look for closures and active and coming soon statuses on seller type REO, okay, REO stands for bank owned. The system found 58. Let's go and look at our results. I want to go ahead and switch back to single agent single line view. So I'm going to click on that. And if you want to make extra sure that the system pull the seller type REO, you can add a column. And we added seller type, didn't we? Apply. And now you can see the system actually put all the REOs based on what we put in our criteria. If you wanted to save this, you can do that again by clicking on the pen and paper and simply naming it whatever you like. So this time I'm going to say seller type and save as a copy. And as you can see, now we have our seller type single agent line view that we created. Let's go ahead and go back to criteria. Our last search is actually going to be on subdivision. Subdivision has been here all along. We do not need to add that, but remember, we're starting a new search, so we are going to go ahead and clear it. For this time, I am going to go ahead and select pending and sold. I'm also going to select 180 for 6 months, 0 to 6 months. 0 to 180 days, which is 6 months. And in subdivision, I am going to go ahead and write Glades Crossing. Now here, see how this system only found one? Well, just like we had on property description, asterisks will be our friends here. Because if you're not exact on the subdivision, guess what? The system is just going to look for that exact word that you put here. But if you put the asterisk, it will identify any subdivision with that phrase. Now let's go ahead and go to results. And this is exactly what I was talking about here. At the beginning, the system was only finding this one, but because I added those asterisks, the system went ahead and found all the subdivisions with those two words. Now, let's go ahead and create our quick CMA. The first thing you need to do when you're doing a quick CMA will be doing your search. Once you have done your search, you're going to select the properties. So this time, I am going to go ahead and click on the MLS number because I am going to look for 4-bedroom, 2.1 baths, 2-story. So that is good. Go ahead and select it. Let's go to next. No, now I'm going to skip that one. I am going to go ahead and select this one, and so on. Now I have selected that by putting a check mark there. Watch what happens when I go to single agent single line view. The ones that I have selected remain there. And then you can go ahead and select others if you like. So for instance, I'm going to select this one and 2 more, 1 and 2. Once you are ready for your quick CMA, go to Actions and go ahead and click on Quick CMA. And the quick CMA will be created and you will be able to look at a preview. It does take the system a little bit. Remember, we're asking the system to pull something. And there is our quick CMA. Remember that header that we set up at the beginning? This is what I meant by that. It is actually showing us exactly what we set up the system to do. There is our banner, our branding, and our photo. Let's go ahead and go back to Matrix. And now, instead of going to quick CMA, I am going to go ahead and click on Print. Here, whenever you have time, I will recommend to you to go ahead and play with the system and see what reports you like. You can pull different reports. For instance, I am going to do a multi-map. I am going to keep my quick CMA and 3-up comparison. If you click on print to PDF, it actually doesn't print, it gives you the preview. So we're asking the system to pull that report. And then you can see this is the multi-map right here. There is our quick CMA right there. And then there is our 3-up comparison. So play with the system, see what reports are going to work for you. Now here it gives you the option to download or print. Let's go ahead and go back to Matrix. Want to show you one more thing. Let's go back to results. Let's go ahead and head on over to our home page. Residential quick, we're going to do one last thing, and that is using the mapping tool. Now here in the mapping tool, I'm not going to do anything else but actives, and then I am going to leave it at Texas, and I'm going to say 500 plus and nothing else. Instead of going to results, I'm going to click on maps. Now you are more than welcome to click on results and then click on maps, and it will bring you to this map right here. If the section of the map looks a little bit small, you can go to your browser, not within Matrix, but here, and then you can go ahead and play with the zoom right here, and it will actually change the size of that map right there. But that is through the browser, not within Matrix. You can zoom in Matrix here, but it doesn't change the area of the size of the map right there. You can zoom in or zoom out. Here you could do a couple of things. You can go ahead and click on the drive time. So for instance, if you have a client that wants for you to find listings and that are 30 minutes away from their work. So we will use Metro Text. Go ahead and type it in and then say tab. The system will find that address. You could do an address or you can put a business name just like we did. You can go ahead and choose drive to here or drive from here. You can go ahead and choose the time. I am going to leave it at 8:30. We said 30 minutes on a Monday. I think that's a great example for traffic. Once you are ready, go ahead and say add. And now anything that you see within that shape, it is 30 minutes or less from that address that we put over here. The red dot is where that address was, where that location you put on there. If your client says, okay, let's go ahead and change the time. I want 15 minutes. You can go ahead and do that by selecting change time. And right here, you can change it to 15 minutes, update, and then the map will update. And now anything that you see within that area is 15 minutes or less from this address. You can put a secondary address if you like by going to the drive time. We're going to use Baylor, Dallas this time as an example. Baylor, Dallas, and tab. And let's go ahead and leave it at that time, 15 minutes away. So now you see these properties within this shape are 15 minutes or less from this one, this address, and these are 15 minutes less from that one. Let me zoom in a little bit so I can show you something. Oh, sorry, you can change. As you can see, you can even change that shape if you wanted to. In here, you can go ahead and click on those dots and then say include intersection. And it will only show you the listings that intersect on those two shapes, meaning that these properties are 15 minutes or less from this one and 15 minutes away from that one as well. You can go ahead and undo the intersection by just clicking on that dot and doing undo intersection. You can go ahead and delete the shape by clicking on that dot and saying delete shape and delete shape. You can go ahead and do a radius if you wanted. Go ahead and click on the radius. Go ahead and put that hand wherever you want to start that radius shape, and then don't let go. Just drag it out. Okay, there we go. And then, for instance, we dragged it out. We try to get close to 5 miles. So anything within this shape is 5 miles or less from this starting point. You can go ahead and insert another shape if you like. And there it is. You can do the intersection again, or you can exclude it. What if you have a client that says, I don't want to see any properties on this side. You can come over here to the dot and say exclude. And now you no longer see those properties there. You can go ahead and erase the shapes by coming into this eraser. You can also do a polygon. Now the polygon, you click on it and then it's click and drag. So click, drag to the next point, click, drag, click, and drag. Okay, let's go and erase that. You can also, what if you have a client that is being very particular of living right on this spot? You can come here and click on the pen. That is the freehand polygon. Go ahead and click where that hand, go ahead and click on your mouse and don't let go, and it will start drawing. There we go. Let me clear it. Let me go ahead and click on it again. There we go. The orange means it's ready. There we go. I'm not too great with my freehand, but I am going to try my best. Right there. And as you can see, the freehand, you can draw whatever shape you want. Let's zoom in. And now you see the properties within that shape. Let's go ahead and clear that. And let's go use this jump to address. So in here, you can type in an address and it will take you to that address by clicking, typing in the address and then saying tab or enter. And I did not spell right, so Prospect Drive. There we go. Make sure you have the right address, and there it goes. Now it's jumping to that address. I brought you here because I wanted to show you a couple of things here on layers. Here in layers, you can go ahead and put the city or county boundaries or zip code, and now go back to that area, and you can zoom out. Sometimes you're going to need to zoom out or zoom in to see. But if you go here, it should show you the maps, the city boundaries, the zip codes. There it is. It just needed a little bit of time. The zip code, the city boundaries, and the county boundaries there. Okay. And you can also see the flood zones. So flood zones, if you please note that if you see any areas in red, that means you just have to zoom in the map by using this right here. So just in case you see those, but flood zones, if you click on flood zones, you will see the flood zones come up. If we go to parcel districts, parcel characteristics, and you click on beds and baths, it will show you, and if you want to zoom in, it will show you how many bedrooms and baths are around this neighborhood. It looks this neighborhood, three beds and 2 baths are very popular. You can also come back and use the address. It will give you the address number right there. So it switches. So now let's go ahead and go to one last jump to address. And this time I am going to use the name. The Swinspear House. Let's go back to Baylor then. I probably don't have the address there. And let's go Baylor, Dallas. Baylor, Dallas. I forgot Baylor, Dallas. There we go. There we go. Now it has brought us to Baylor, Dallas. Let's go back to those parcel characteristics and click none. And what I brought you here was to click on points of interest here. So here, let's say that you have a client that arts and entertainment is really important to them. You can come to that area they're looking at, and then you can go ahead and select all the points of interest. And now on the map, if we zoom out a little bit, you will see some icons have appeared. There is transportation. If you click on it, it will tell you the station, the lines that go through that. If we click on this little cart, that is a grocery. So it's telling you right there that there's some shopping that you can do as well, and so on. So that's how points and bins just can be useful for you. If we zoom out, then we see more of those icons come out. And that is it for our intro to Matrix. We hope that you enjoyed our webinar today.